censorship, and legislation. Video game controversy. Video game controversies refers to a wide range of debates on the social effects of video games on players and broader society, as well as debates within the video game industry. Since the early 2000s, advocates of video games have emphasized their use as an expressive medium, arguing for their protection under the laws governing freedom of speech and also as an educational tool. Detractors argue that video games are harmful and therefore should be subject to legislative oversight and restrictions. The positive and negative characteristics and effects of video games are the subject of scientific study. Academic research has examined the links between video games and addiction, aggression, violence, social development, and a variety of stereotyping and sexual morality issues. 1 page needed. Areas of controversy related to video game content. Violence. Main article, Violence and Video Games. Video games since their inception have been the subject of concern due to the depictions of violence they may contain, which have heightened as the technology behind video games improve the amount of visual detail and realism of games. Video games are often seen as a possible cause to violent actions, notably in the aftermath of the 1999 Columbine High School massacre, but academic studies have yet to identify solid evidences linking violence in video games and violent behavior. The American Psychological Association stated, in 2015, that a correlation between the use of violent video games and aggressive behavior was observed. However, it was noted, the interpretations of these effects have varied dramatically, contributing to the public debate about the effects of violent video games. 2 in 2017. Division 46, Society for Media Psychology and Technology, of the American Psychological Association stated that scant evidence has emerged that makes any causal or correlational connection between playing violent video games and actually committing violent activities. 3. Despite the lack of solid evidence and academic consensus, politicians and activists have sought for ways to restrict the sale of violent video games, particularly to minors, on the basis that they can lead to violent behavior. 4-5 Within the United States, the issues of video game sales regulation led to both the formation of the Entertainment Software Rating Board in 1994-6-7 and the 2011 Supreme Court of the United States landmark case Brown v. Entertainment Merchants Association that ruled that video games are a protected class of free speech and blocking legislation on such sales restrictions. 8 According to the Pew Research Center, in 2008, a study found that 97% of kids from the ages 12 to 17 engaged with video games, and 2/3 of the kids in the study played some sort of action or adventure game which tended to contain violent content. Another analysis discovered that more than 50% of all games rated by ESRB included violence, which encompasses more than 90% of the games rated as suitable for kids 10 years or older. 9. Sexual themes. Main article, Sex and Nudity in Video Games. Tolerance of sexual themes in video games varies between nations. Controversy over sexual themes has occurred in the U.S. For instance, in June 2005, an entire portion of unused code was found within the main script of Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, allowing the player to simulate sexual intercourse with the main character's girlfriends. This mode, Hot Coffee, could be accessed in the PC version via mod, and through action replay codes in the PS2 and Xbox versions. 10 The scene was left on the disk and could be accessed by altering a few bytes of the game's code via a hex editor. This feature prompted the Entertainment Software Rating Board, ESRB, to change the rating of San Andreas on July 20, 2005 to adults only. Furthermore, the game was withdrawn from sale in many stores. Rockstar Games posted a loss of $28.8 million in that financial quarter. This event was dubbed the Hot Coffee mod controversy. 11. In Japan, controversy over an eroge called Rape in 1989 led to the game being banned a few months after its release. 12. The game Rape Lay, a Japanese eroge with a storyline centering on the player's character stalking and raping a mother and her two daughters, also caused controversy. Campaigns against the sale of the game resulted in its being banned in many countries. Replay's publisher, which intended the game only to be available in Japan, withdrew it from distribution. 13. Since 2018, Sony has now issued new regulations for PlayStation 4 games with sexual content and fan service. For the localized release of Senran Kagura Burst Re-Nwal, Intimacy Mode, a mode where the player can play with the characters' bodies was removed, but by comparison, the same mode that was featured in previous titles like Senran Kagura, Estival vs and Senran Kagura, Peach Beach Splash was not removed. PC release of Burst Re-Nwal was not changed. 14. The PS4 release of Nico Para Volume 1 was censored for similar reasons, resulting in the game receiving an E rating by the ESRB by comparison to the M rating for versions on Nintendo Switch and PC. 15. Sony claimed it was their decision to ban Omega Labyrinth Z outside of Japan due to its content. 16. According to Idea Factory International, the localized release of Date Alive, Rio Reincarnation will feature changes to certain event scenes and removal of illustrations that show characters in suggestive positions, although the PC version won't be changed. 17. Content regulation and censorship. See also, list of regionally censored video games. Support for video game regulation has been linked to moral panic. 18. Even so, governments have enacted, or have tried to enact, legislation that regulates distribution of video games through censorship based on content rating systems or banning. 19. 20, 21, 22. In 2005, David Gauntlet claimed that grant funding, news headlines, and professional prestige more commonly go to authors who, in good faith, promote anti-media beliefs. 23. Tom Grimes, James A. Anderson, and Laurie Bergen reiterated these claims in a 2008 book examining sociological effects on the production of media effects research. 24. In 2013, the Entertainment Software Association, the lobbying group for the video game industry, had enlisted over 500,000 members to the Video Game Voters Network, a grassroots lobbying group to mobilize gamers to act against public policy that may negatively impact the gaming industry. 25. The VGV was launched in 2006 by the ESA, and uses social media sites like Facebook and Twitter to inform members of allies and opponents. 26. In 2013, the ESA spent over $3.9 million on lobbying, including but not limited to against VGV legislation. This included opposing a bipartisan federal bill that would direct the National Academy of Sciences to study the effects of all forms of violent media. 27. Such bills themselves had come under criticisms from some scholars for pressuring scientists to find specific outcomes rather than studying the issues neutrally. 28. 29. Video game consoles were banned in mainland China in June 2000. 30. 31. This ban was finally lifted in January 2014. However,